everybody. Hey, it's an unexpected, unsubscripted pop-up live with yours truly, Amy Berger, To It Nutrition, Keto Without the Crazy. I hope some people tune in. I know that Dr. Westman actually just did a live that we use a streaming platform that is able to broadcast into multiple YouTube channels and Facebook groups and other platforms at the same time. And so I know that he just did a live earlier tonight, but he and I have, I think, very different communication styles. Now, he and I agree on like 92% of things. There might be like 8% of keto stuff on which we disagree, but over 90% agreement. It's just that our styles of delivering information are so different. So I thought I would do a little surprise pop-up, and I'm happy to answer keto questions in general, like keto AMA, ask me anything, but I really would prefer, if any of you are kind of on the fence and still debating about doing our Keto Made Simple online course, feel free to ask questions about that. So I am here for all of it. Let me see if I can look at the chat. I haven't done a live in so long, and the YouTube changed the way the whole interface looks. It's very different. So I will also, full disclosure to you all, I have an adult beverage handy. I welcome and encourage those of you who enjoy an occasional adult beverage to go get yourself something and come back, or if not. Also, those of you long-time To It Nutrition channel veterans, does something look different here? Do you notice anything in my background that looks different? The puzzle, the infamous puzzle is finished. The puzzle is complete. I will probably explain this in more detail when I do my next pre-recorded video for this channel and all my fans, because this has become quite the topic of conversation. I've seen you like, ooh, did she put more pieces in? Ooh, oh my gosh, I think she put a few more puzzle, It's kind of a long story, but the whole thing is finished. I will fill you in on how that happened in my next recorded video. But let's see who is here. Oh, my friend JC is here from South at 3 a.m. in South Africa. JC, go to bed. I don't know why you're awake. That's crazy. I thought I was a night owl. But yeah, if anyone has any questions about anything, I'm here. It's 9:00 p.m. on a Sunday. I'm available. If you want to ask about keto, low carb, weight loss in general, metabolism, physiology, I might not know the answer. If I do, I'll answer. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know, or I will give you my educated speculation and tell you that it is educated speculation. I don't know what to tell you all. Let's see, what else can we talk about? I don't know. I kind of hope some of you will have questions. There's only 22 of you 24 of you watching now that I can see. Enrollment closes tomorrow. That's Monday, August 8th in the US, I think around midnight Pacific time. The doors, enrollment to the Keto Made Simple online course, that's when we close. So you definitely do not want to delay. If you have the slightest feeling that course might be helpful for you, do it now. I don't think we're going to run this course again until early 2023. We like to do around like January of a new year, just because that's when people get interested in weight loss again. And, we do, like, we're not dumb. We are going to follow the market trends to some extent. But I don't think we will be running the next round of this course after the one that's open now until next year. So get in now. And I'm telling you, if you want to know more about this course, watch the video that I posted myself, I think Friday evening. So if you look at the videos tab on my channel, Dr. Westman recently did a whole bunch of lives that got broadcast into my channel. But if you look at my videos, my most recent video that I myself did was called Keto Made Simple. And it was walking you through all the details on this Keto Made Simple course. So if you have any questions, if you're not sure about the whole deal of this course, that's the video you want to watch, because you have all of tonight remaining and all day tomorrow to enroll in the course. All right. JC, I kind of think you're kidding because I sort of know you. JC is asking about toothpaste on keto. You're not eating the toothpaste. So whether the toothpaste, I mean, most toothpaste doesn't have sugar because sugar is bad for your teeth. If it has xylitol, or some of them do have xylitol as a sweetening agent, that's fine, because I'm assuming you're not eating the toothpaste. You're using it to clean your teeth and you're spitting it out. So let's not go there. Dash and Gal says, do you support the idea of diet reset, upping calories to try to boost metabolism? This is a very controversial area. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure if there's any published data. Like, I don't know if they've ever actually run clinical trials with people who have been dieting. And by dieting, I mean deliberately reducing calories, deliberately forcing themselves to eat less than they are naturally inclined to eat, deliberately learning to be hungry all the time. I don't know if they've ever done an actual trial comparing groups of that who don't do this refeed or this metabolic reset with people who do, who like maybe every few weeks or however often have a higher calorie day or several higher calorie days, to see if that does anything. I really don't know. My inclination is to say that yes, it would help, but I cannot tell you for sure. I just know I've heard a lot of anecdotes. I've heard a lot of reports, unscientific, but reports from people who've done this, and it does seem to help. But I think it depends on, before I recommended that for anyone, I would want to know more about their personal individual situation. This is why it's very difficult to give blanket, broad sweeping recommendations for entire population groups. A lot of this really depends on the situation. Are you on a medication that makes it harder to lose weight? Do you have diabetes? Are you looking to lose 5 pounds or 200 pounds? These things matter. So I know that's not the answer you want to hear. You want to hear yes or no. If you only have a little bit of weight to lose and you've been eating very, very low calorie for a while, I do think there might be some merit in that refeed, in having a few days or weeks of higher calorie intake. But again, I can't say for sure. I think they need to do that study. I don't think anyone's ever done that study. Danita says, I took the course and really benefited from it. I don't know anyone who's done our Keto Made Simple course who hasn't benefited from it, except those who maybe signed up for it and didn't have time to actually watch the videos or be in the support group, because it's self-paced. So whenever you buy the course, you can watch the videos 6 months later. You can sign up now, and if you don't feel like watching the videos now, you can watch them 2-3 months from now. So I have a feeling that people that didn't find it beneficial probably just haven't actually gone through the course yet, or they went through it and they just have not gotten to the mental and emotional place yet where they're ready to implement some of what we taught, which is totally fine. I am very much supportive of going at your own pace, going at the pace that's realistic for you. But I think it's still great you have done the course, because those people have the information, they have the knowledge now, so that when the time comes that they are actually ready to do this, they know what to do. It's just a matter of flipping that switch and actually doing it. I've never heard from anyone, I paid for this course, I bought this course, and it was a total waste of time and money. We've had, I don't know, 3,000 people, over 3,000 people do this course, and not once have I seen that kind of message. So, if I do, say so myself. Baby Love 0320, you are welcome. Thank you for that nice compliment. I don't see any other comments coming in, so let me see what I can think of while I sit here with my adult beverage. there's only 30 of you watching from now. I can see the numbers. And so probably nobody watching happens to be living in Virginia. If you are, I am drinking out of my souvenir glass from Chateau Morissette, which is a winery in a town called Floyd, Virginia. And no, I'm not an affiliate. This is not sponsored content. I've just visited Chateau Morissette a few times. It's a really, really lovely place to spend an afternoon if you are a wine drinker. Chateau Morissette in Floyd, Virginia. And if you live near the DC area, I used to live up in the DC part of Virginia for like 6 or 7 years. There's a winery in Bull Run in Manassas, Virginia, like the famous Civil War battle, the Battle of Bull Run. There's a winery, the winery of Bull Run. You can search for it. They have some very nice wine. Also a nice place to spend an afternoon. Lisa Newman, you're in Central Virginia. Yeah, if you're I don't know if you're a wine drinker, if you are, but Central Virginia, if you're near Charlottesville, then you've got the whole, sort of Charlottesville, Jefferson viticulture area. CMEL is in Wheeling, Illinois. I don't know anything about Wheeling, Illinois. I only know Wheeling, West Virginia. Tracy's in Connecticut. My master's degree in nutrition is from the University of Bridgeport in Connecticut. I did not live in Connecticut. I did a distance program. It was not online. I had to be on campus in Bridgeport one weekend a month. So all day Saturday, all day Sunday, we were in the classroom with our professors. But Bridgeport, at that time anyway, was one of the few schools that had a fully accredited, like real legitimate master's degree in human nutrition, where I knew they weren't going to teach me the food pyramid. They weren't teaching keto. Like there's no accredited degree in keto nutrition right now. There's a lot of like online certification and training programs, but I knew that Bridgeport had sort of an unconventional training in nutrition, and I don't regret doing that. Lisa is between Charlottesville and Roanoke. You're in the perfect place to drink great Virginia wine. Previous Jan says, I thought the surprise on previous video was the completed thyroid book. I wish so those of you who don't know, I'm writing a book about thyroid. If there is anything that I am as passionate about, if not more passionate about, than low carb and keto ways of eating, it's thyroid. And so my next book is not a keto book at all. It's going to be thyroid. If I was writing it by myself, it would already be done and out in the world, because I'm going to self-publish. My friend is going to help me design it, and we're just going to put it on Amazon. I am teaming up with Carol Rosemith, who is a PhD nurse practitioner. She is incredible with thyroid. She is just a dynamite thyroid practitioner. And because she still sees patients, she doesn't have as much time sitting around to write as I do. So it's going to take a lot longer to get it out, but I am confident that her contributions are going to make it a much stronger book. Now, if you need information on thyroid, though, I'm going to see if I can post a link in the chat right now to one of my best videos on thyroid, one of my most educational and critical for watching if you need education on thyroid. Let me see if I can find it. One sec. Sorry, it's just going to take me a sec to bring up the link. Here it is. All of you that your doctor says you're normal, but you feel like trash and you know you're not normal, this video will explain why. Here's the thyroid video. It will also explain all of you who are already on thyroid medicine. You're taking levothyroxine, you're taking Synthroid, and you still feel like trash, and you cannot lose weight no matter what you do. No matter how disciplined you are with keto, no matter how much you exercise, if you are having a real heck of a time losing weight and you are taking Synthroid or levothyroxine, watch that video I linked to as soon as humanly possible, and you will understand why. Okay, what else can I do? I only have one lobe remaining. Yeah, if you have one thyroid lobe, that might be enough depending on how much hormone that thyroid lobe is pumping out. Somebody is north of Chicago. Oh, that's the Illinois. Okay. Oh, thank you, Dash and Gal, for pointing all newbies to adapt. I appreciate that a lot. What else can I tell you? I mean, I'll just tell you more about the Keto Made Simple course. I really think I mentioned this in the video that I did the other day, sort of telling you more details about the course, but we've had 6 rounds. The round coming up is round 7 of Keto Made Simple. And I still never get tired of hearing people say, I never knew it could be this simple. I'm so glad that I don't have to track and weigh and measure everything and write everything down and record and measure my ketones and prick my finger and do all this stuff. People are able to relax about this. They're able to loosen their control so much, and they get better results compared to when they were doing what Dr. Westman has started calling internet keto. I call it Wild West keto, like the crazy keto where just no holds barred, pour all the oil and butter in your coffee and do this and do that. We've had so many people talk about how they were fasting for days at a time or measuring their ketones and tracking and not getting the results they wanted. And they come to us. We teach you the deadest, simplest way to do this, and things start moving for them. And that's how I do things. Now, I'm not, those of you who followed me for a while, I've always been very clear. There's a time and a place where it may become useful and important to track and measure and record everything and do all that stuff. Most people don't need to do that. And I personally myself would not want to follow a way of eating where I couldn't just go to my fridge, pull a couple things out, eat, and go about my day. I don't want to have to open a spreadsheet every time I eat. I don't want to have to consult my app every time I eat. There are people that love that, and that's fine, but you don't have to do that. And keto is it's simple when you let it be. And I think really, like I mentioned in that video, where the Keto Made Simple course shines is not just in the video lessons that you get from Dr. Weston himself, but in the support. If you use Facebook, you get the 3 weeks of support where you can ask me questions. You can ask Dr. Westman questions. We have other admins who have been following this way of eating for years and years. Their success stories themselves. They are there to help. And if you don't use Facebook, because I know a lot of people hate Facebook now, and that's totally understandable, you don't have to use Facebook to do the course. If you hate Facebook, you can still ask us questions. If you get the course, we will give you an email address to which you can send us questions. You can even write for Amy in the subject line and they funnel it directly to me. So, all right, let's see if there's any other questions. Oh, Danita, I'm so Danita's husband has Alzheimer's. And for those of you that have only recently found me, my first book is called The Alzheimer's Antidote. You can find that, not anecdote, antidote. You can find that on Amazon. And it's because if you're wondering why on earth a keto nutritionist would be writing about Alzheimer's disease, it's because they call Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes, or diabetes of the brain. So I wrote a whole book about it. There is a rationale for why ketogenic diets or exogenous ketones, all of the above, might be helpful for cognitive function. So I'm so glad that's been helpful, Danita. Lisa says KMS was truly helpful. Yeah. Tech Nerd signed up for KMS. Great. Awesome. Love it. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying that everyone who's ever done the course has loved it 100%, but we've never, not once has anyone written to us to say, this was a waste of my money. I'm so sorry I took this. If anyone has ever been disappointed to that level, they didn't tell us. And we've been in customer service long enough that I can guarantee you if someone was that annoyed, they would have told us. Nobody withholds a complaint, believe you me. So I just, and like I said in the video that I did, let me take a little sip here first. The Keto Made Simple course, for which you get not only a few hours of the video lessons from Dr. Westman, but you get 3 weeks of ongoing support from me, from Dr. Westman, from our admins. That costs less than one consultation with me one-on-one. If you want to work with me one-on-one, it costs you for an hour, it's 60 to 90 minutes, an initial consultation. That will cost you more than 3 weeks of the Keto Made Simple. So I don't know why anyone would not do this course. And that's, we've had people write to us like, you know, is this course really worth it? You know, can you tell me more about like, why should I sign up for this? Or like, I've already read End Your Carb Confusion. Would I get anything new from the course? And I often tell people, and I'll get to that, you know, I already read the book. I did Atkins in the 70s. I'll get to that in a minute. When people ask, is this course worth it? You know, I don't know what should I pay? I have a couple of different ways of approaching people now with an answer. I say, is it really that you cannot afford this course, or can you afford not to do this course? That's the real question. Can you afford not to do this? Can you afford to keep floundering out there? Can you afford to keep following 42 different keto doctors and influencers, nails on a chalkboard, keto rando people on the internet who are spouting out nonsense? Can you afford to do that and not afford to listen to a doctor, a medical doctor, and I don't mean me, I mean Eric Westman, who's been doing this for over 20 years in a medical clinic at a world-class university? Which one of those can you not afford to do? And the other thing, why do you think you're not worth it? Are you not worth 167 lousy dollars for 3 weeks? I think it's 167 if I recall correctly. Are you not worth it? Why don't you deserve this investment in yourself? Because that's what it is. It is an investment in yourself. It's not like, well, I don't know if Dr. Westman's worth it. That's not even a question. Frankly, I'm worth it. That's not even a question. If you want me to answer your questions, I'm above my own self-esteem crap to say I'm not worth it. I am worth it. The question for you is, are you worth it? Do you think you are worth investing a lousy $167 in yourself? We know Dr. Westman's worth it. That's not, like I said, don't even ask that question. That's already answered. Are you worth it? And yeah, you are. You are. So that's also a non-question, but let me see what other questions have come in. Yes, Tech Nerd, you're exactly right. How many thousands upon thousands of dollars are you going to pay over the years for medications, for co-pays, for doctor visits, for prescriptions, for your special socks, for your special devices because you're really debilitated? Or you could reverse your type 2 diabetes with a very low carb ketogenic diet and maybe not need to spend all that money. And so, yeah, for people, I guess I will answer the question. For those of you who have read End Your Carb Confusion, available at booksellers everywhere, you can get it on Amazon, but why not ask your local indie, mom and pop type bookstore to carry it for you? If you have read End Your Carb Confusion, why would you do this course? We have actually had several people tell us, I read the book and I'm so glad I did the course, because the course is the phase 1 food list. It is 20 total carbs per day or fewer. It's a very strict ketogenic diet, but I just think the one-on-one support that you get, the interaction you get with Dr. Westman and I both do live videos in the group. And maybe you've read the book, and even though we tried to write it in such a clear way that nobody would have any questions, you might still have questions. So if you do, Keto Made Simple is a great way to get those answered. Where else can you interact directly with the authors of a book you read if you have questions about the book? Keto Made Simple, you get to like ask questions directly to me and Dr. Westman. Like you do not have that opportunity anywhere else. You think Dr. So-and-so on the internet gives you that choice? He doesn't. So, okay. But this is a Keto Made Simple Q&A, but I'd rather answer your just keto questions too, if you have any. Jan McKee, KMS6 graduate, says, you won't be sorry. And I agree. Thanks, Jan. Tech is asking, is the book translated into other languages? I have to double check. I think our publisher has it maybe in the works in Chinese or something. And the thing is, I would love for End Your Carb Confusion to be in Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, Dutch, Afrikaans, all the languages. What has to happen is a publisher in one of those countries or who specializes in one of those languages has to approach either me or Dr. Westman or our publisher and say, hey, I'm a French publisher. I'm a Japanese publisher. I want to do a translation of End Your Carb Confusion. How do we make this happen? And they get hooked up with our foreign rights department. So, I mean, otherwise, I have friends who speak Spanish who could just translate it for us on the slide. But the way that has to happen, unfortunately, is sort of out of our control. But I would love for this book to be in Spanish. I just actually started talking to somebody about possibly translating my second book, The Stall Slayer, into Spanish. The Stall Slayer, now ignore that gray line. This is my author preview copy. If you bought a copy of the book, it doesn't have this gray line. The Stall Slayer is all about breaking fat loss stalls on low carb and keto diets. And this was self-published. So I am my publisher. I have a friend who may be able to do this in Spanish for me. Oh, sorry. So End Your Carb, The Stall Slayer might be coming out in Spanish soon. And my Alzheimer's book, it's over there. You can't see it because it's off camera. My Alzheimer's book has been translated into about 5 languages. I've got a stack there. I have it in Spanish and German and Dutch and Turkish and Polish, I think. Those languages have my Alzheimer's book. And English, of course. What else can I say about keto? I don't know. Those of you wine lovers, there's a whole chapter on alcohol in The Stall Slayer. Can you drink and still lose weight? Yes. Is it easy to drink and still lose weight? No. Can you do it? Yes. You have to be strategic about it. You can't, be drinking like a bottle every night and think that the fat's going to melt off you, but an occasional adult beverage can fit into keto. Let's see. Amy H. Great name, Amy H. What is my Alzheimer's book called? It is called The Alzheimer's Antidote. And I will put a link. Well, I could link on Amazon. It's called The Alzheimer's Antidote. And it is on Amazon. But, ask your small independent bookshop to carry it. I know those places are really struggling these days, but it's called The Alzheimer's Antidote. And that book came out 5 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. That book was published in March of 2017. And Alzheimer's is not my strongest passion in all this. I would say my real passion is for like metabolic syndrome, obesity, diabetes, PCOS. But I think I owe a lot to that book and to what I discovered over the course of researching that book, all the scientific literature I found on Alzheimer's, because I had been a keto nutritionist for a few years and nobody really knew who I was. I wasn't like on the circuit, so to speak. After my book got published, I started appearing on podcasts here and there. And then I started getting invited to speak at some of the conferences. And I think that Alzheimer's stuff really put me on the map. So I haven't updated my website in forever, but I will be speaking at Low Carb San Diego, which is happening August 25th through the 28th, I think. So just if you search for Low Carb San Diego 2022, it'll come up. I will be speaking there along with like a who's who of insanely famous keto people. So, and I will also be, those of you near I'm going to butcher it. This is how you know I'm not from there. Louisville. I don't want to say Louisville, Louisville, Kentucky. There's Keto Palooza, Palouza, Keto Palooza. I think that's September 30th through October 1st or so. I'll be in Louisville, Kentucky speaking. That's all I have on the calendar for 2022, I think, so far. But I spoke, I was at Keto Salt Lake, Adapter Life had a few events. So, but that, I rarely talk about Alzheimer's on stage anymore when I'm presenting, but that really put me on the map. So that's cool. Diagnosed with NASH, cirrhosis, started keto, intermittent fasting. Yes, lost 65 pounds. Yeah, keto is great for non-alcoholic fatty liver or NASH, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, basically a fatty liver that is caused not by alcohol. We'll keep this our little secret, everybody. No, I think, yeah, keto is, or not even just keto. Look, some degree of dietary carbohydrate reduction is excellent for getting the excess fat out of the liver. So some people might need to do strict keto to accomplish that. Some people can just kind of cut back on carbs and it's fine. Tech Nerd says, can eating fruits sabotage efforts with the keto diet and weight loss? Yeah, they can. And I know that's very controversial. It depends on what you're doing. They can. I think berries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, cranberries, unsweetened, real fresh cranberries that are super, super tart and sour, not the sweetened, dried, craisin cranberry type things. Berries are the lowest carb fruits, lowest glycemic, but overdoing fruit can definitely interfere with weight loss. In fact, in Keto Made Simple, and which is based on, I think I may have mentioned this, it's the phase 1 food list from End Your Carb Confusion. There is no fruit. No fruit. Now, depending on how technical you want to get, we have vegetables or foods, plant foods, that are technically classified as fruit, but we normally every day don't think of them as fruit. Things like tomatoes. Tomato is, botanically speaking, it's a fruit. We generally consider it a vegetable. Same thing with zucchini, bell peppers, yellow squash, anything with the seeds on the inside is considered botanically a fruit. Cucumbers, anything in that sort of summer squash family. So those, if you consider those fruits, you can have them as fruit. And I think Ted Naiman even calls them low sugar fruits because they are. Zucchini, tomato, it's a low sugar fruit. But if you're thinking fruit, apples, grapes, bananas, pears, mangoes, yeah, those can interfere with fat loss. What else is going on, everybody? Anybody struggling? Anyone need help? How you doing with keto? I feel like the talk I'm going to give in San Diego is a talk that I've given a few times before, but I think that this is going to be largely a new audience. I don't like it. Okay, let me reframe. The nice thing about being able to give the same talk 3, 4, 5 times is that I don't have to make new slides. I love giving talks. I hate making slides. So if I can reuse the same slides and maybe just change 1 or 2 depending on the audience, that's great. So this particular talk, the slides, I made them like 2 years ago. This audience, I think, is going to be largely new. So I can give this. But when I speak in Denver, and I think Low Carb Denver 2023 is probably a lot of overlap with this San Diego audience, I'm not going to want to give the same talk. So I'm going to have to see. I want to talk a lot more about mindset and psychology. And in San Diego, my talk is approved for the CMEs, the continuing medical education. So like if you're a doctor, a PA, a nurse practitioner, whoever, and you attend one of these events, you can claim this as contributing toward your required continuing education credits, and nutritionists as well, RDs, same thing, dietitians. Denver, I believe, will be the same. And I just don't know if a talk on mindset would be approved for CMEs, which it doesn't have to be. It just would mean that my particular talk does not count for the CMEs. But San Diego, my talk is very scientific. There's like each slide has references for the people that like want to actually go to PubMed and read the scientific publications. If I give a talk about mindset, it's not so much, because here's the thing about keto. Most of us already know what to do, right? If anything, you know too much. You've read too many books already. You've listened to too many podcasts. You've watched too many videos. Ben Bikman says one thing, Ted Naiman says something else, Finney says something else, Westman says something else, that crazy Amy Berger says something else, Maria Emmerich says something else, Dr. Boz says another thing. You have no idea what to do. Like, you've heard too much. You don't need to know anymore about protein, fat, and carbs. We all know what to eat and what not to eat. The problem is, why are we not doing that? Why at 11 p.m. do we hit the ice cream? Why do we hit that family-sized bag of chips? Right? That's the issue. We're going out to lunch with coworkers. I'm totally going to get the Cobb salad. I'm totally going to get the Cobb salad. And the waiter comes by. Oh, I'll have the lasagna. I'll have the mac and cheese. Oh my God, what happened? I was supposed to order the Cobb salad. Nobody needs protein, fat, carbs anymore, except there are people that are brand new to this. But you know what I mean? Really, this is what I find most often. People know what to do. Actually doing it and doing it consistently and sticking with it for the long term, that's the hard part. I will say, though, that based on the previous 6 cohorts of Keto Made Simple that we've had, sometimes people do need to learn about protein, fat, carbs, because this internet keto, Wild West, no holds barred keto out there that gives you, oh, you have to have 80% fat or you're not keto, or if you eat more than 12% protein, it's going to kick you out of ketosis. So sometimes we do need a refresher. Sometimes we do need to know that it's not about macros and it's not about percentages and ratios. It's about keeping your carbohydrate really, really low. So it's like, some people do need that, but I don't know. Johnny G says, any Q&A is coming up. What do you think we're doing right now? Just nobody's asking any questions. I'm waiting for questions to come in, and I just have to run my mouth because nobody's asking any questions. Did it not say pop-up AMA? This isn't Ask Me Anything. Was that rude? No, I'm serious. Like, this is a Q&A. People, I'm here. This is free. Ask me questions. Or, feel free to sign up for a consultation and you can pay me lots of money to ask me questions, or, Tech nerd. Saturated fats from animals versus plants. Is there a difference, and which one is recommended? There's not really a difference. Molecularly speaking, if you look at the shape of the molecules, saturated fat is saturated fat. And there's different kinds. There's like several different types of saturated fat. I don't really have any preference. If you like coconut oil, use coconut oil. If you like to cook with beef tallow or lard, use those. I don't have any preference, whatever you like. Dutch says, reached my ideal weight. Good for you, Dutch. How to maintain? I can't just eat more food. Well, you could just eat more food. There's a lot of different ways to maintain. Some people do just increase their, keep your carbohydrate intake the same and just eat a little more. Some people increase their carbs. And that's actually, and if you haven't already read End Your Carb Confusion, that's exactly what this book is about. It's about customizing a simple guide to customize your carb intake for optimal health. We start people super, super low, and you might be a candidate for phase 2, the phase 2 food list, which is 50 total carbs a day. That is still a very, very low carb diet. 50 total grams of carbohydrate a day is almost nothing. So you could, that's one strategy. Increase your carbohydrate a little bit, and we explain how to do that in the book. You know, you wouldn't just go overnight eating from like 20 to 25 to 50, but you would just increase them gradually. What do I like about Durham? Why did I choose to live here? Well, I moved here because I was in a relationship with somebody that I'm no longer in a relationship with, but I'm still in Durham for now for that reason. And Durham, I don't love it, but I will. The cost of living here is great. You know what I pay for the size and location of apartment I have is a steal. Like I've started to look elsewhere, and the value that I'm getting in Durham is great. Durham is lots of good barbecue here. And we are in North Carolina. So like there's some really good brisket here, really good ribs. I wouldn't choose to live here just for that, but it's pretty good. Let's see what else is here. And Durham, I'll refrain from talking politics, but I'll just say Durham is kind of a good fit for me, politically speaking, versus maybe some of the rest of North Carolina. Johnny G, have you tried lifting weights for brain health and happiness? No, not specifically. Have I lifted weights in the past? Yes. Did I do it specifically for brain health? No. Do I exercise on a regular basis? Yes. Do I find it helps my mood? Yes, but that was not your question. You lifting weights specifically for my brain? No, I don't do that. Do I think that can help? Yeah, absolutely. Do I lift weights for that purpose? No, not personally. How to get rid of restless leg syndrome. So I'm not super familiar with restless leg, except because people have restless leg syndrome even when they're not on keto, right? If you're having those issues on keto, depending on your situation, I would recommend a lot more sodium if you don't have high blood pressure or heart failure. Some people need magnesium. Or if you have like muscle cramps, leg spasms, leg cramps, especially at night. I did a video when we're done. If you bring up my channel and look at the videos tab, and you can search for something like search for leg cramps. The video will come up. Tried and true home remedy. It's going to sound weird, but it's explained in that video. A squirt of mustard or a generous swig of pickle juice generally gets rid of those leg cramps. But I don't know. I don't think that's the same as restless leg syndrome. I'm talking about that really acute, seizing, like Charlie horse kind of cramp. Restless leg could be magnesium or sodium, I would think. And you also asked, does counting calories matter? I assume you're asking specifically for the purpose of weight loss, because a lot of people do keto for reasons totally unrelated to weight loss, right? Keto is effective for so many other things besides weight loss. If you are trying to lose weight, you don't have to count calories, but yes, it is possible to eat too much. It is possible to eat more food than your body needs, and you're not going to lose fat. Most people do not have to count calories to have that happen. How do I feel about resistant starches like cooled and reheated potatoes and rice? So those of you who are not familiar with the term resistant starch, this was a really big deal in the paleo movement several years ago. Like before keto got big, everybody was doing paleo, like that was all the rage. And there's this thing called resistant starch. It's when you cook certain higher starch foods like potatoes, rice, and beans. You cook them normally, you let them cool, you stick them in the fridge, and you eat them maybe the next day or something. The cooking process, specifically the cooking and cooling process, does something to the molecules of the starch in those foods such that when you eat that food after it's been heated and cooled, the glycemic impact is lessened. So like it doesn't raise your blood sugar as much. It doesn't induce quite as much of a rise in insulin. I do think that is true, the effect on blood sugar and insulin are reduced. Here is the thing you need to know. They're not negated. It's just less. It's not that your blood sugar doesn't rise at all if you eat rice that's been cooled or potatoes that have been cooked and cooled. They still rise, they just rise less. So if it were me, now, right, not medical advice, I'm not a doctor, but this is my opinion. If I were trying to reverse type 2 diabetes, I would not eat the rice or potatoes at all. I just would cut them out of my diet altogether, then say, oh, I'll do it the resistant starch way. But you do you. If not having potatoes is a deal breaker for you, like I will not do a keto diet if I can never have a potato ever again, then do the resistance, bake some potatoes, let them cool in the fridge and eat them over the next few days. But I just think, just keep that in mind. The impact on blood sugar is lessened, but it's not zero. It's not gone. So it just depends on where you fall on that spectrum. I would just not eat them at all. I just wouldn't bother. How many grams of proteins and fats are recommended per meal? You should do the Keto Made Simple course if you haven't already, because we take all this confusion out. You don't have to calculate anything. You don't have to wonder about anything. It depends on your situation. I can't tell you what to eat if I don't know anything about you and where you're starting from and what you're trying to accomplish. For the most part, it's almost impossible to overdo protein. If you're hungry, eat beef, eat pork, eat eggs, eat chicken, eat seafood, eat turkey, eat bison, eat lamb, eat protein. Don't worry too much about the fat that comes along with those foods. If you're eating a fatty pork chop, it's fine. Eating a fatty steak, it's fine. People tend to get in trouble when they add lots of extra fat, like adding butter to things, adding oil, melting cheese on everything. I can't really give you, not knowing what you're trying to accomplish, I can't tell you exactly what to do. But the number one thing is to keep the carbs really, really low. And then you can individualize the other stuff for your own goals. Good strategies for planning cheat meals. I'm going to post a link to a blog post I wrote on that a long time ago that you can maybe copy and paste and read some other time. And that way, I don't even really have to answer here. Post on cheat meals. There's a link to an article I wrote on cheat meals. Family events. Do you want me to give you the polite answer or the Amy Berger was born in New York answer? Born and raised in New York answer. Family events, I mean, I can't imagine you're ever going to be at an event where there is no protein whatsoever, where the only thing they're serving is spaghetti. The only thing they're serving is bread and pasta. There's no chicken, there's no beef, there's no nothing. You can always find something to eat, always. If you can't, you need to be responsible for what you need to do, and you bring food with you. And if people look at you weird, if they think you're being odd, you know whose problem that is? Not yours. That's the beautiful thing about this. Whatever you choose to eat or not eat at a family event is not your problem. If anyone else thinks you're being weird, it's their problem. So you don't have to please anyone. You do not have to eat anything to make anyone else happy. If somebody else's happiness depends on what you're eating, that says a lot more about them than it does about you, right? You want to keep the peace. Don't be the rude person. Don't be like, well, I'm on keto. I can't have that and that and that and that. Please, dear God, don't be that person. Just quietly and politely choose the things you can eat and shut up about the rest. Like, I think we make a big deal out of these events when if we would just keep to ourselves and other people keep to ourselves, it's really no big deal. You would hope that people are so busy worrying about themselves and their own stuff that they don't care what you eat. That's what I would say. Now, if you're hosting, then the food is entirely within your control and you get to cook exactly what you want to have. If you want to go out of your way to be polite to other guests who might not be on a low carb diet, you cook whatever fatty proteins and non-starchy vegetables you want for, for your own needs and whoever's needs. And then you maybe also have some potatoes ready or some rice or something starchy on the side. Like, it just doesn't have to. We take situations that are very simple and we make them complicated in our minds, but they're not really that complicated in real life. Pete is asking a thyroid question straight to my heart. Weight loss stalled. I found out my reverse T3 was very high. Is it my age or what is the cause? So this is really interesting because assuming you are male, Pete, some people use their spouse's accounts or they have joint accounts. Assuming you are a male gendered person, it's rare for men to have thyroid issues. It's not unheard of. It's just uncommon. No, age does not cause high reverse T3. You might have something else going on. If you are under an inordinate amount of stress, like psychological stress lately, if you've been fasting a little too much, if you're not eating enough food to keep up with your activity level, that could raise T3. Or if you happen to be recovering from a surgery or a trauma or an illness, or if you are, whenever that blood work was done, if you were sick or recovering from something, your T3 would be higher, and that wouldn't surprise me at all. Your reverse T3. Reverse T3 can be high for any number of those reasons. And yes, the high reverse T3 can contribute to a weight loss stall, but I would wonder why. Your age alone wouldn't cause high reverse T3, I don't think. Amy H says, any tips for getting past cravings for carbs and sugar? I'm really struggling lately. It depends. My biggest answer is what Dr. Westman would tell you, which is you crave what you eat. If you don't eat sugar, you stop craving sugar. But I know you have to solve the problem of how do I stop eating the sugar in the first place and then not crave it, right? If you have a craving, sometimes people will tell us, and they mean well, like, oh, just get it out of your system. Just eat the brownie, get it out, satisfy the craving and it'll go away. Or just eat the cookie and then, no. When you have I call it the craving monster. When the craving monster cries out to be fed and you feed it, that doesn't satisfy it and make it go away. That just makes it come back for more. Ooh, last time I told her I wanted a brownie, she totally gave me a brownie. I'm going to do that again tonight and again the next night and the next night after that. The way to kill this is to kill it. If you stop feeding that craving monster, eventually it learns it's not going to be fed and it goes away and it starves to death. Kind of like a stray cat. If you put a bowl of milk out or a bowl of cat food for a stray cat, that cat's going to be back tomorrow and the next night and the next night. If you don't put food out, the cat is like, oh, this house totally doesn't have any food. I'm not going to waste my time there anymore. So I do think the number one way is to just not have any. And literally the cravings will go away in a couple of days. I know it's hard to believe. That's one way, but two other things to add to this. One way to get yourself to do that, because it's so easy to say, well, just don't eat sugar for 2 or 3 days and the cravings go away. Great, Amy, thanks for that friggin' news flash. How do I not eat the sugar for 2 days? Like, okay, great. I think what I would do if I was really, really struggling, I would forget about macros, forget about protein, fat, forget about everything except keeping the carbs really, really low. So if that means you're eating a whole pepperoni stick or a whole, I don't know, half a jar of pickles, a family-sized bag of pork rinds. I mean, I'm not like recommending this, but if that means that you have to fill up on something else that is low to zero carbohydrate to take the edge off of those cravings, do it. Even if that means for 2-3 days a week, maybe you're not going to lose weight. you will reprogram the palate. Your brain will start to change so that, like, if you're doing keto or whatever else for weight loss or something, put the weight loss on hold and get into the habit of just not eating the sugar. And zero guilt, zero shame, zero self-loathing if you polish off a whole pepperoni stick or one of those big dried sausages or something. Fill up on stuff that does not have sugar to take the edge off until you reach that point where you don't need the sugar anymore, and then you can start modulating those quantities. The other way to go about this sugar craving thing is to have sweet things that are not sweetened with real sugar. So in the Keto Made Simple course, in End Your Carb Confusion, even in the original Atkins, I'm pointing there because there's my bookshelf, in the original Atkins diet books, you could have sugar-free Jell-O, you could have diet soda, you could have, like Crystal Light. Crystal Light's iffy these days because some of the ingredients are weird, but you could have sugar-free sweetened things that just don't have sugar. It's just a very slippery slope because depending on the sweetener they use, some of them do impact your blood sugar and insulin almost as much as regular sugar. Some of them impact it barely at all, but some of them are more powerful. And even if it doesn't affect your actual blood sugar and insulin, it just perpetuates the addiction. It just keeps you wanting the more sweet, versus like if you just ate pepperoni or pork rinds or salami or cheese or something and maybe learn to gradually break yourself of the need for the sweet. So, and there's no right or wrong. Both of those approaches are totally fine. It depends on what works for you. I do think most people do better with just cold turkey, cut it all out. Don't kid yourself. Don't be having these keto granolas and keto cereal. There's no such thing as keto cereal, people. Okay. What types of supplemental magnesium? So Mark Sisson has a good post on magnesium. I'll have to dig it up. Can I easily get everything from the food I eat? That's a really good question. Some people can, some people can't, right? We make a really big deal out of electrolytes on keto: sodium, magnesium, and potassium. Lots of people just eat their food and they don't need any supplements. They don't need special electrolyte powders. They don't need anything. Other people have to go out of their way. They have to like pound salt. They have to like pour salt into their hand and just like suck it down. Or magnesium, they have to take magnesium pills. So if you don't have any issues, you don't have to worry. For constipation, pretty much any magnesium can work if you take enough of it. So if you have constipation, you probably want to do like at least 350 milligrams a day of magnesium at least. But again, this is not medical advice. I don't know if anyone's taking a blood pressure medication that affects magnesium levels, always check with your doctor before you supplement with any of this stuff, because some blood pressure medications cause you to excrete more magnesium, or they cause you to hold on to some. So you need to be careful if you're on any blood pressure meds or certain medications. The brain health, I can answer more easily. Supposedly, and I've written, like, in freelance gigs, I've done a little bit of research on this. If you specifically want magnesium for brain health, there is a form called magnesium threonate. I'll put it in the chat. Magnesium L-threonate. Yeah, I don't have my glasses on. Magnesium L-threonate, or it'll just say magnesium threonate. Supposedly, that is the one that crosses the blood-brain barrier more easily than any of the other forms of magnesium. That's all I really know about that. And I mean, it's almost like, again, not medical advice, as I always say, but like, it's hard to overdose on magnesium because the effect of taking too much magnesium is loose stools. So if you have constipation, that's kind of a nice thing. You'll know if you overdo it because, something will happen. Juan says, is one meal a day a good combo with keto? This is another one of those entirely individual things. Some people can have one meal a day on keto and it's great and it works fine. But it's not required. You can also eat 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day. Some people graze. I know that's like a sin in the rest of the keto world, grazing or snacking throughout the day. We get a lot of people in our Keto Made Simple course, or I've had, individual private clients who have had bariatric surgery in the past. These people cannot have one meal a day because of the way their intestines or their stomach have been surgically altered. They cannot eat a huge meal all in one sitting. They have to have small bits of food all throughout the day, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So can you do one meal a day if you want to? Yes. Do you have to do that? No. And frankly, most women, I don't like OMAD, one meal a day. I don't like that for women because I know very few women who are going to cram enough protein down the old gullet in one sitting. They're just not going to eat enough protein in one meal. Nina says the stray cat analogy. Yeah. And everybody's different here with whether I think it's from Gretchen Rubin, right? Is she the one that, I don't know if she came up with these phrases, but she just wrote a famous book about it. Abstainers versus moderators. Moderators are people who can moderate their intake. I can have 2 cookies and close the package and I'm fine. Abstainers, it's easier to have no cookies. It is easier to abstain completely from cookies than it is to say, I'll just have 2. Because there is no such thing as just having 2. I have 2 and I want 20 more. 2 cookies leads to 10, leads to 22. It is easier for me to have 0 than to have 1 and stop. But the moderators can have 1 and stop. But I'm not like that with all foods, right? There are certain foods that I can moderate with and some that I can't. So there's certain foods that I can keep, in my own kitchen, in my own fridge, and they're fine because I won't binge on them. And there's other foods that I cannot buy because I will eat the entire container in one sitting. So it's you have to know yourself. There's no like I always say this about it. There's no right and wrong with any of this. There's only what works for you. There's only how you're wired, right? Like I'm a chocolate girl and like I'm a salty kind of girl. I like potato chips, pretzels. I do not like, I never, even when I was a kid, I never liked gummy bears, jelly beans, Sour Patch Kids, like gummy sweet Mike and Ike's, whatever. Like I would get that stuff for Halloween and be like, ew, gross, like jelly beans. I don't want these, but like, ooh, a Kit Kat bar, give me 10 of those. Like, so we each have our own individual things that we really, really love or we're not interested in at all. So yeah, that's enough for me to say about that. Oh yeah, so Nina also mentioned monk fruit. The same could be said for artificial sweeteners. I use Sweet and Low in my coffee every morning. If I'm at a restaurant, I'll use Splenda. Whatever's handy. I don't really care. I'll use artificial sweetener in my coffee. It does not at all cause me to crave more and more and more throughout the day. I have my coffee and then I'm done and I just go about my day. Other people, if you have Splenda, Sweet and Low, aspartame, monk fruit, stevia, whatever, it sets you up on that craving roller coaster all day. Or same thing with diet soda, right? Some people can have a diet soda, no problem. Other people, it induces cravings. You just have to know where you fall on that spectrum. There's no blanket like, oh, nobody should ever have this. It spikes insulin for everybody. No, because none of that's true. Is xylitol safe for keto? Yes and no. Xylitol is a sugar alcohol that does impact blood sugar and insulin. It's less than regular sugar, though. but it does have an impact. And xylitol is definitely one of the ones, if you overdo it, you will have very loose stools. And ask me how I know. No, actually, I'm gonna pull up a book right now.